Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Today we are going to start lesson number 8 of Madinah book number 3. And in this lesson, we will talk about one of the properties of the noun. Something that we have discussed many times. In fact, from the beginning of the course, from book number 1, we have discussed that a noun has 4 properties. We have discussed that one of the properties of the noun is i'rab, the declension of the noun, and we have discussed in lesson number 1 of this book in detail, i'rab, that a noun can be marfu' or mansub or majroor. Then we have discussed that the gender of the noun, jins, that a noun can be al-mudhakkar or al-mu'annath, masculine or feminine. Then the third property of the noun we have seen, which is adad, the number, that a noun can be mufrad, singular, al-muthanna, dual, and al-jama', the plural. So i'rab, jins, and adad, declension, gender, and number. And the fourth property of the noun is that a noun can be either indefinite or definite, an-nakira wal-ma'rifa. And indefinite noun is a noun that has normally tanween on it. For example, we can see kitabun. So kitabun means a book. So this is an-nakira or indefinite. And we have also named it as common noun. And al-ma'rifatu, which is definite, al-kitabu, normally when al is added to a noun, it becomes to a common noun, it becomes definite or ma'rifa. So in this lesson, we will discuss about the types of definite noun, al-ma'rifa, as it is in the lesson. And also, we will also discuss about the verb ta'ala yata'ala, that means like how to make fi'l al-amr when we want to call someone, like we want to say come, how to make fi'l al-amr. So let's begin. First of all, an-nakira. So whenever we look at the noun, the default it will be nakira. For example, when you look at kitabun or qalamun or any other noun, the default it will be nakira. And we know that a common noun, so you need to notice this please, that a common noun that ends with tanween is called nakira. For example, kitabun, as we can see here, filun, an elephant, and jannatun, a garden. We know that a proper noun can also have a tanween. However, here we are saying that a common noun that ends with a tanween is called an-nakira. Definite, al-ma'rifa. So definite nouns are basically proper names given to a certain person, like Zaydun, place like Makkatu, or a thing like Saqaru. So Marifa is basically a proper name or a name that is given to a certain person, place, or thing. Now, please note here that every noun in Arabic is an-nakira, is indefinite, except for the below categories. So we have to look for the below categories. If a noun falls into these below categories, that means it's a proper noun. It is definite. Otherwise, we will say that the noun is indefinite or nakira. So what are those categories? Number 1, when al, lam tarif, as we know, when al is added to a common noun, it becomes a proper noun. For example, kitabun means a book. And when we say al-kitabu, then it means the book. So as we can see here, that when we add al to a common noun, it becomes a proper noun. Number 2, ismun alamun. Ismun alamun means the proper noun. So the name of a specific person like Muhammadun, place like Jahannamu, or thing like Misru, or place is basically Misru, and Jahannamu is also place as well. So the name of a specific person, place, or thing, that is called ismun alamun. Alamun is used for proper noun as well. Number 3, ad-dama'ir, pronouns. All pronouns in Arabic are proper nouns. For example, huwa, huma, hum, hiya, huma, hunna, anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, ana, and nahnu. We have discussed in book number 1. So all of them, all the pronouns are also, they fall in the category of definite nouns or al-marifa, or we call them proper nouns. Then demonstrative pronoun, asma'ul ishara. So all pronouns in Arabic are proper nouns. All asma'ul ishara, all demonstrative pronouns are also, or they fall in the category of proper nouns. For example, hada, hadihi, haulai, dhalika, tilka, ulaika. So all of them, they are definite, they are marifa, they are proper nouns. Then we have relative pronouns, asma'ul mawsula. Similarly, all relative pronouns like alladhi, allati, alladhina, allati, all of them are also proper nouns. They are definite and they fall in the category of proper nouns. Number 6, possession, al-idafatu. So is every possession a proper noun? No. When we have mudaf ila al-ma'rifa. So what is mudaf ila al-ma'rifa? When a common noun is associated with a proper noun. So when we associate a common noun with a proper noun, only in that case it becomes a proper noun, and it is called mudaf ila al-ma'rifa. We will see in the lesson that mudaf can be ila al-nakira as well. But when it is mudaf to a proper noun, then it also becomes a proper noun by itself. For example, baytun, a house, as we can see here, it's a common noun, indefinite. And lafdul jalala, Allahu, as we can see here, is a proper noun. But when we associate bayt to lafdul jalala, when we say baytullah, now bayt has also become a proper noun. Why it has become a proper noun? Because now it has been associated with a proper noun. So this is what we call mudaf ila al-ma'rifa. You know that like mudaf, mudaf ilayh, when two nouns are associated to talk about the possession of something, then what happens, normally we have a proper noun and a common noun. Normally the combination is a proper noun or a common noun. Or a common noun and a proper noun. But sometimes we can have both of them, could be the common nouns as well. In that case, when both of them are common nouns, in that case, we will say that both of them are common. However, when we have a proper noun, as we can see here, and a common noun, and when we put them together to show the association or the possession, then the common noun becomes a proper noun. And the last one, the one being called, yani al-munada. So al-munada is like when we call someone by using harfi munada, ya. So when we use ya with a common noun, it also becomes a proper noun. For example, rajulun is a common noun, we know that. And when we say ya rajulu, now it becomes the specific man. So rajulun is a common noun, but when we add ya to that, two changes will take place. Number one, the ending will be only dhamma. Always it will be dhamma. And number two, we will add ya to that. So when we add ya to that, it becomes specific noun, or it becomes the proper noun. So from the beginning, we have seen that these are only 7 categories. So these 7 categories, when we talk about them, then we will say that the noun is ma'rifa, or it is definite. Number 1, when we add al. Number 2, ismi alam. Number 3, ad-damair. Number 4, asma'ul ishara. Number 5, asma'ul mawsula. Number 6, mudaf ila al-ma'rifa. And number 7, al-munada. Is there any question? I hope it's clear, because we have discussed about the 4 properties of the noun in detail, and from starting from book 1. So now, inshallah, I'm sure that you know them all, and the Sheikh has like compiled them all in one lesson, and this is what we have. This is a summary of what we call definite nouns or the proper nouns. That is point number 1 that we have in this lesson. Number 2, as we can see here, the verb ta'ala. Ta'ala. So as you can see here, it is just a lam with has fatha on that, means come. This verb is only used in amr. So whenever we want to make fi'l al-amr, we use ta'ala. Please remember that other than that, when we talk about the past tense, which is ta'ala, that is used for only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran or in everyday life. So when we say ta'ala, when we add alif maqsura to that, when we talk about the past tense, and then it refers only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when we make fi'l al-amr, in fi'l al-amr, we can use it as we can see here. In everyday Arabic, or you have noticed, like in Arabic, normally when we want to say to come, we use the verb ja'a yaji'u. Ja'a yaji'u. Or we have like idha ja'a nasrullah. And similarly, we have ata yati. Ata yati means to come. Hal ataka hadith al-ghashiyah. So normally when we talk about to come, or we use ja'a yaji'u and we use ata yati. But we don't use fi'l al-amr from both of them. Normally, like in the Quran, especially ja'a yaji'u, the fi'l al-amr of ja'a yaji'u has not been used in the Quran. So in every, like when we want to make fi'l al-amr, then we use ta'ala. So if you look at the examples here, for example, we say ja'ani Bilalun amsi. Bilal came to me yesterday. And then we have la ta'tini ghadan, don't come to me tomorrow. One more thing I would like you to please notice about ja'a and ata, that both of them are lazim. These are both of them are lazim af'al, but there are like only few, like 5 or 6 verbs in the Arabic language that they can be used both as lazim and muta'addi. They can be used intransitive and transitive. For example, dhahaba, normally dhahaba, we know that it is lazim, it does not need maf'ul bihi. Similarly, ja'a and ata ya'ti, they do not need maf'ul bihi. The meaning will be clear. For example, ja'a Bilalun amsi, Bilal came yesterday. Ja'a Bilalun amsi, Bilal came yesterday. The meaning is clear, and this is lazim. But as I said, that these two, for example, as of now, we know that these two, for example, ja'a and ata, they can be used both as lazim and muta'addi, transitive and intransitive. Now we look at the isnad of ta'ala, as we can see here. So when we talk to one person, for example, waladu, we will say ta'ala ya waladu for one person. So when you're talking to your son or any person, we will say ta'ala ya waladu. When we talk to 2 persons, we will say ta'ala ya waladani. Ta'ala ya waladani. When we talk to muthanna or dual. And when we talk about the plural, it will be ta'alaw ya ikhwanu. Ta'alaw ya ikhwanu. Ta'alaw has been used in the Quran, and we will see the example of this. Similarly, we have ta'alay ya khadijatu. So when you are talking to a singular feminine, you are calling upon her or you are calling her, you will say ta'alay. And then we have for the 2 feminine or for 2 ladies, we will say ta'ala ya bintani. And when we talk about more than 2, we will say ta'alayna ya akhawatu. Ta'alayna. Ta'alayna has also been used in the Quran. So ta'alaw and ta'alayna, they have been used in the Quran. However, ta'ala and ta'ala ya and ta'alay, they are used when we want to ask someone to come. And then we have a little bit more detail that like the verb ta'ala is however used in Madi, and the mudare, when we talk about the mudare, it means like it will be ta'ala ya ta'ala, and meaning he was exalted. And the amr ta'ala originally meant come up, ascend, then it came to mean just come. So basically, it means like when you are giving, it's like how it has changed into fi'l al-amr and to mean someone to say come out of respect. When you are giving someone some respect and you say come over here, so this verb is being used to give someone respect. And from that perspective, it is used as ta'ala, ta'ala ya, ta'alaw, ta'alay, ta'ala ya, and ta'alayna. All right, this is verb form number 6. We haven't discussed about verb form number 6 in detail. In book number 2, we have discussed like up to number 6, but briefly we have discussed we haven't discussed in detail. So inshallah, when we start like lesson number 15, 16, then we will talk about thalathi mazid fi, like the forms of the verb that are like derived forms of the verb. And then we will discuss in detail, like how these changes have taken place. Is this clear? Is there any question?
There is a amr of Jan, Ustad, in the Quran, Jina, somewhere I have
No,
heard
Jina
this.
is past tense. Jina is past tense.
Okay.
Yeah, so
yeah, with nahnu, okay.
yes, in Quran, fi'l al-amr for atayati has been used. Ituni bi kitabin min qabli hadha. So ata, whenever we use ata for fi'l al-amr, we have to use with the preposition of ba, to bring. Iti bil ma, bring water. So whenever you want to make, or ji bil ma, so whenever you want to make fi'l al-amr using ja'a yaji'u or ata yati, then you have to use the preposition of bi. Because when we use bi, that means to bring. Ja'a, he came. Ja'a bi kitabin, he came with a book. Ata, he came. Ata bi kitabin, he brought the book. So we have to use the preposition of ba with that. Then it will be clear, and then it means to bring something. But when you want to say come, then we have to use ta'ala.
Okay.
But please remember the past tense, ta'ala, is used only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes, only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
The exalted or someone who
yes, the
is
exalted.
high above.
Yes, exalted, excellent. That's right. All right, if you want to see, like, just briefly, I will show you. Can you see the word file now? The word file where
but
we have...
here in this usage, Ustad, they always say ta'ali, ta'ali. They don't say ta'ala to come. I have heard about
no, it's
ta'ali,
basically, no, actually, when you stop, normally for the masculine, we say ta'al, like the lam
but for
becomes
everyone,
sakin.
they use ta'ali, ta'ali. They
Yes,
just
exactly,
shout
yeah.
this.
Like it's amiya, like in everyday Arabic, yes, they speak and they
Okay,
use it
so
a lot.
it is like referring to what, Ustad? Like ta'ali is just in the usage.
Ta'alai for the singular feminine, and ta'ala
But actually, it has to be used
masculine.
for the feminine, right?
We can use for both, of course. For example, can you see the screen here? 1 minute, please, if
yes,
you have a look. Okay, so now we have ta'ala is the past tense, and the present tense will be yata'ala, yata'ala. So from yata'ala, when you do the conjugation, yata'ala, yata'ala yani, and then we have yata'aluna, and then you know that when we talk about mukhatab, when we are talking to the person in front of you, yes, anta, then we will say tata'ala, tata'ala yani. So now we will see how to make fi'l al-amr. Do you remember how to make fi'l al-amr?
Yeah, to drop the
yes. So the
weak letter.
The weak letter, like the ending has to be sakin. So when we make the ending sakin, that means the ya gets dropped, and then we have to drop alamat al-mudari as well. So when we drop alamat al-mudari, it becomes ta'ala simply. So anta ta'ala, for the singular masculine, it will be anta ta'ala. Similarly, ta'ala ya, we know that the noon will be dropped, and then alamat al-mudari will be dropped, so it will be ta'ala ya. And then for the masculine, it will be we drop noon, and you know that the noon will be replaced by alif. Yes,
alif.
Yes, and then we have to drop alamat al-mudari, so that's why it becomes ta'alaw, as we can see here. And for the feminine, a singular feminine, when we drop noon, noon is dropped, and then ta will be dropped. So what is left is ta'alay. As you can see here, it will be ta'alay. Yes, ta'alay. So for one singular masculine, we will say ta'ala. And when we when we stop or when we make a pause, we will say ta'al. And for the feminine, we will say ta'alay. And yeah, for the dual, it will be the same as we know. It will be ta'alaya. And for the feminine masculine, for the feminine plural, do you remember the rule? That the noon is mabni.
It will not drop.
It will not be dropped.
It is persistent.
However, alamatul mudari will be dropped, so it will be ta'alayna. Ta'alayna. And these two, as we know, that both of them have been used in the Quran. So now you know why it is ta'ala, ta'alaya, ta'alaw, ta'alay, ta'alaya, and ta'alayna. Now we can go back to the lesson here, and from the lesson, can you see the bar, that the black bar, or not?
No, Ustad,
It's not there, alhamdulillah. Okay. So now we have just two examples from the Quran. Briefly, we can just have a look. So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قل تعالوا أتلوا ما حرم ربكم عليكم ألا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا. Say Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi wasallam, come. So as you can see here, ta'alaw, come. I will recite to you what your Lord has forbidden to you. So Quran will teach us through Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that what is halal and what is haram. Then Quran will tell us that we don't have to associate anything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not associate partners with him. And Quran will teach us how to live with the parents and how to live in the society and honor your parents. So that's why learning Quran will not even teach us the Arabic language, but also it will teach us the seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And through Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we will be able to learn about life, like what is halal and haram, like how to avoid shirk, and also how to deal with the parents and how to live in the society. So this is example of ta'alaw, and ta'alaw has been like used more than 10 times in the Quran. And then we have Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul li azwajika in kuntunna turidna al-hayata ad-dunya wa zinataha fata'alayna. As you can see here, fata'alayna umatti'kunna wa usarrihkunna sarahan jamila. And as we can see here, fata'alayna, then come. So these two have been used in the Quran. And this ta'alayna referring to azwaj al-mutaharat, to the wives of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In fact, ummahat al-mu'mineen. So we say ummahat al-mu'mineen, our mothers. And this verse, and here it is referred to them, whereas here it is referred to all human beings. Ta'alaw. So these two examples.
Yeah, we have also has a وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ تَعَالَوْا يَسْتَغْفِرْ
that's right.
لَكُمْ
Yes. It's been used as I said, like almost around 20 times, almost like it's been used like. So now we start our lesson. Ad-darsu al-thaminu. Hada ad-darsu al-thaminu. This is lesson number 8. So we have discussed about the kinds of ma'rifah, definite noun, and also we have discussed how to use ta'ala. And you know that in the end of the lesson, when we do the exercises, we will also go through the whole information in Arabic as well. Al-mushtari, the buyer. Al-mushtari, ishtara, yashtari, ishtara'an, to buy.
Ism file.
Ism al-file, the buyer, but we know that this is from the derived form of the verb. So that's why it is not always on the pattern of fa'ilun. The pattern of fa'ilun will come only for the verbs that have 3 root letters. Yes, whereas when we talk about the thalathi mazid fi, or the derived forms of the verb, then it will be on the pattern of different patterns will be over there. But we know that when we have dhamma in the beginning and the second last root letter has kasra, that means it is the doer, ismul fa'il. Yes, al-mushtari, the buyer. Aladayka aqlamun, do you have pens? Hamzatul istifham. Lada, you know that this is a dharf, and it ends with alif maqsura, we know that, lada. But when we attach it to the attached pronoun, then alif maqsura changes into ya. Aladayka, do you have aqlamun, pens? Okay, so aqlamun will be mubtada and ladayka will be khabar. Okay, because ladayka, as we can see here, this is a dharf, and we have discussed several times that the dharf and jar majroor, they cannot be mubtada, they will always be khabar. So aqlamun is basically mubtada and ladayka is khabar. Aladayka aqlamun, do you have pens? Sahib al-mahalli, the shopkeeper. Yes, na'am, yes. Ladayna aqlamu hibrin. Now, as you can see here, aqlamu hibrin. So aqlamu is mudaf and hibrin is mudaf ilayh. But mudaf ilayh, is it common noun or proper noun?
Common. It's common.
It's a common noun. So now that means both of them are common nouns. Aqlamu is also common noun and hibrin is also common noun. It will be only, mudaf will be only proper noun when, as we have discussed earlier, when it is mudaf ila al-ma'rifah. But when it is mudaf ila nakira, then both of them will remain common nouns.
Common.
Yes. So aqlamu hibrin, that means fountain pens. Hibran is used for ink. So this is used as mudaf ilayh. Wa and harf atf. Aqlamun jaffatun. So aqlamun jaffatun, as you can see here, this is mawsuf sifa, right? So we have two constructions here. Aqlamu hibrin is mudaf ilayh, but aqlamun jaffatun is mawsuf and sifa. So these small constructions, like we need to know, like mudaf ilayh, similarly mawsuf sifa, and we have discussed several times. So, and we have jafun basically means dry pens. So that means it refers to the ballpoint pens. Ballpoint pens, yeah. So yes, we have fountain pens and we have ballpoint pens. Al-mushtari, the buyer. أعطني ذاك. أعطني, أعطى, يعطي, إعطاء, to give. Verb form number أسلم يسلم إسلاما. And as we have in the Quran, إنا أعطيناك الكوثر. So أعطى, يعطي, إعطاء requires مفعولين. Okay, to give something, to give the person and then the receiver and the thing. Okay, إنا أعطينا, we give, you, الكوثر, two things. Similarly, أعطي, give, ni, me, what? ذاك, that. Yes, give me that. Like what? يشير إلى قلم, he points towards a pen. أشار يشير إشارة, to point towards something. So يشير إلى قلم, he points towards a pen. ذاك is used for something that is like the middle distance, not very far and not very near. If something is near, we say هذا. If something is far away, we say ذلك. And if the distance is like something like in the middle, then we use ذاك. صاحب المحل, the shopkeeper, هذا, and this is a question, هذا. So this one, المشتري, the buyer, لا, no, الذي فوقه, the one that is above it. الذي فوقه, the one that is above it. صاحب المحل, the shopkeeper, هذا. Again, he asks the question, this one. Al-mushtari, the buyer, نعم, yes. وأعطني, and give me, قلم رصاص, pencil. Rasas is used for lead, so basically lead pencil. وأعطني قلم رصاص, and give me a lead pencil. So as you can see here, ni is مفعول الأول and قلم رصاص is مفعول الثاني. That's why it is mansub, قلم رصاص. And also this is مضاف إليه. صاحب المحل, the owner of the shop. هذا قلم رصاص, a very simple sentence. هذا مبتدا, قلم رصاص خبر. This is the pencil. So this is the pencil. المشتري, أعطني دفترا. Then the buyer says, give me a notebook or a register. Again, ni is المفعول الأول and دفترا is مفعول الثاني. Give me a register or a notebook. صاحب المحل, the shopkeeper. الدفاتر أنواع مختلفة. There are several types of notebooks. الدفاتر مبتدا, أنواع مختلفة خبر, موصوف صفة as well. So الدفاتر is basically the plural of دفتر. دفتر دفاتر ممنوع من الصرف. نوع, and the plural of نوع is أنواع. And مختلفة, why it is مختلفة?
Because it's feminine she. That's why.
أنواع is the broken plural, yes. And the broken plural is treated as singular feminine. So this is أنواع is singular feminine. So this is موصوف, and we know that موصوف and sifa are equal in 4 properties of the noun. As we discussed, they are equal in i'rab, in status, i'rab, then adad, yes, then
Marifa,
yes, Marifa Nakira, that is called capacity, gender. And then the gender. So both of them are here feminine. So there are different types of notebooks. Turidu ayya naw'in. So why did I start from turidu? Because we know that ayya naw'in is mansub because of turidu. So which type do you want? But we know that ayya is a verb, it's a noun, and this is ismul istifham, and this is ismul istifham that requires to come in the beginning of the sentence. Like in English, what type do you want? So what comes in the beginning of the sentence? Similarly, ayya is also ismul istifham, which is used to ask a question, and it also comes in the beginning of the sentence. So that's why it is mansub ayya nawin turidu. Which type do you want? Yani which type of register do you want? So it's basically turidu.
Anta turidu.
Yeah, turidu. Yes. Yani turidu ayya nawin. Which type do you want? Al-mushtari,
So
the buyer.
ayya is maf'ul bih for turidu.
That's right. It is maf'ul bihi. And this is only from the ism al-istifham, which is flexible, like declinable. So it will be ayyun, ayyan, ayyin, and normally it is used as mudaf, mudaf alayh. Normally, not always. There is a possibility that it can be used as independently, but most of the times it is used as mudaf, mudaf alayh.
Especially.
Al-mushtari, the buyer. Uridu, I want. So it's a verbal sentence. It starts with the verb. So I want, fail plus file. So he wants daftaran, he wants a notebook. And now we are talking about, so daftar is mawsuf. And now we are talking about the sifa of the daftar, of the notebook. So it will be the, so we know that the can be used as sifa as well. And it is always used as mudaf. Dhu, the, you know that it is always used as mudaf. And then that's why the noun that comes after that, the waraqin musattarin, the lined paper, or the paper with lines, or the ruled paper. So the waraqin musattarin. So this is basically sifa for daftaran. So uridu daftaran, I want a notebook. The waraqin musattarin, with lines. Ala ghilafihi, on its cover. Kharitatun, the map. Lil alam al-islami, of the Islamic world. So he says that I want a notebook which has a cover of the map of the Islamic world, and it has to be lined. So I need a lined notebook which has the map of the Islamic world on its cover. على غلافه, on its cover. خريطة, a map. للعالم الإسلامي, of the Islamic world. صاحب المحل, the buyer. أتريد شيئا آخر, do you need anything else? So it's a very simple verbal sentence. تريد, أنت تريد, يعني you want. فعل plus فاعل. شيئا is مفعول به, and آخر is the sifa of شيئا. So شيئا آخر is basically موصوف and sifa. So now we can see that شيئا is declinable, so that's why it has فتحتين, but آخر is indeclinable, or we can say ممنوع من الصرف. Sorry, it's ممنوع من الصرف. So it will be آخر, آخر, آخر. So yes, so أتريد شيئا آخر, do you want anything else? المشتري, لا, no. صاحب المحل, the shopkeeper. ينادي ابنه, or ينادي ابنه. So we know that the Hamza is Hamzatul Wasl. Yunadi ibnahu, he calls his son. Yeah, so nada yunadi and nidaan, we have discussed about this as well. Yes, he calls his son ya waladu, o son or o boy. So as you can see here, waladun is a common noun, but when we say ya waladu, then it becomes a proper noun.
Light.
Yeah, it becomes light, and it becomes, from common noun, it changes into a proper noun. Da, put, from wada yada'u, which is fi'l al-amr. هذه الأشياء, these things, في كيس, in a bag. Yeah, so this is a simple sentence. Put these things in a bag. Okay, للمشتري, then to the buyer. أتلميذ أنت, are you a student? تلميذ, student. أنت, you. أتلميذ أنت, are you a student? المشتري, the buyer. نعم, yes. صاحب المحل, the shopkeeper. مسموك, what is your name? Very simple construction. ما can be mubtada and اسمك can be khabar, because we know that there are only two asma al-istifham, aina and mata. They cannot be mubtada because they are used as dharf. Aina and mata, they cannot be mubtada. The rest of the asma al-istifham, like kayfa and ma, they can be used as mubtada, and ismuka can be khabar. Masmuka, what is your name? And we know that kalimatu ismun is also the Hamza is Hamzatul Wasl. That's why we will say Masmuka, what is your name? Al-Mushtari, the buyer, Ismi Malikun. My name is Malik. What kind of noun is this, Malikun?
Fine.
It's a file.
Ismul fa'il, derived from Malaka Yamliku. Fahuwa Malikun. Fahuwa Malikun. Excellent. So now we need to note these things. So whenever we are like reciting the Quran or reading any Arabic book, now we need to know or notice these minute things so that we can practice them. Sahib al-Mahal, fi ayyi madrasatin tadrusu. In which school do you study? So fi is harf jar, ayyi is ismul istifham, and here it is majroor because of fi. So we know that the noun can be majroor only for two reasons. Yeah, when it is used as majroor after harf jar, so it is majroor here because of fi, and madrasatin is majroor because it is mudaf alayh for ayyi. Fi ayyi madrasatin tadrusu. In which school do you study? Malikun, Malik. So now here we know that Malik is basically a common noun, but when it is given to a person, then it becomes a proper noun. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it means honor. Like, doesn't necessarily mean, so Malikun, it means honor, but also it can be the name of a person as well. It's not necessary that every alam should have a meaning. So Malikun, the person, fi madrasati Umar al-Thanawiyati. So he studies in the secondary school, and the name of the secondary school is Umar. So Umar Secondary School. Umara, mamnu min as-sarf. So it should be basically Umari, but we know that this is mamnu min as-sarf. That's why it will not accept kasra. So that's why it is fi madrasati Umar al-Thanawiyati, in Umar Secondary School. Yusallimu lahul waladu, sallama yusallimu tasliman. And when it comes with the preposition of la, please note it, very important information, that means to hand over. And when it comes with the preposition of ala, that means to
send
salutations to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Or when we say assalamu alaikum to someone, so when we greet someone, we also use ala. But when you hand something to someone, then we say la. We use with the preposition of la. Yusallimu lahu, he hands over, hu al-waladu, the boy. So the boy hands over to him, al-ashiya'a, the things, fi kisin, in a bag. So he hands over, the boy hands over the things to him in a bag. Wa yadfa'u, and he pays. Who pays?
Yes.
Malik. Wa yadfa'u malikun, so yadfa'u fail, malikun fa'il. And qimataha is
Mushtari has changed into Malikun.
Yes,
right,
now,
Ustad?
yeah,
The
yes.
Mushtari
Has changed into, basically Mushtari's name has been changed into Malik.
Yeah, change into Malik.
Yeah, so Yadfa'u, as we know, it's fail, Malikun is file, and Qima is basically Maf'ul bihi. So he pays its value, or he pays the money, or he pays the price. Qimataha, its price, wa yakhruju, and he leaves. Yakhruju, sorry, ha refers to what?
The Ashya.
The things, excellent. So Ashia, excellent, very important. Sahib al-Mahal, then the shopkeeper. Ya Maliku, now as you can see here, Malikun is a common noun, but when we use ya to that, then it becomes a proper noun. Ya Maliku, O Malik. Ta'ala, as you can see here, come here. So now as we can see here, Ta'ala is used for singular masculine. Yani anta ta'ala, you come. Hadihi lawhatun, this is the cardboard. And what kind of lawha is this? Jamilatun, beautiful.
Jamilatun.
Yeah, so this is a beautiful cardboard. Tahwi contains ayatin, verses of the Quran, wa ahaditha, and the ahadith. Tahwi ayatin wa ahaditha, which contains the verses of the Quran and the ahadith of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi wasallam. Now here we have ayatin and here we have ahaditha. Why?
Because these are
this one is mansoob bil kasra.
because of
Okay, ayatun, ayatun, and the plural will be ayatun, ayatin, ayatin.
Ayatin,
Okay,
ayatin. So
Okay,
mansub
so-
bil kasra.
okay, mansub bil kasra. So that's why it is ayatin. Wa ahaditha.
This is mamnoon.
Mamnu min as-sarf, yes, on the pattern of ahadithu, on the pattern of mafa'ilu. So that's why it has fatha on that. Here, hadiyatun lak. This is a gift for you. So here, mubtada, hadiyatun khabar, lak, jar majroor. This
So
is
it
a
is
gift
not,
for you.
I feel it is not mamnoon, Ustad. It is just, is it?
Hadith, of course, a hadith is on the pattern of mafa'ilu. Here it is
Okay.
mansub because it is used as a maf'ul bihi. Because
Okay.
tahwi is fail plus file. So it
Yeah.
consists of fail plus file, and then it has maf'ul bihi, which is ayatin.
Ayatin.
Ayatin is mansub with kasratain or with kasra, and ahaditha is mansub.
Hadith.
Yeah.
Hadith.
Hadithun,
This is
the kalima hadithun is flexible, is declinable. Hadithun, hadithan, hadithin. But when we use the plural will be mamnu min as-sarf. Ahadithu,
Okay.
ahaditha, ahaditha, mamnu min as-sarf.
Okay.
Malikun, Malik, shukran, thank you. And you know that shukran is one of the nouns that is used in the Arabic language, where it is obligatory for us.
Shukur.
It is wajib that it has that like the doer has to be mahduf. So it's basically ashkuruka shukran. I thank you. Shukran, as we know, this is maful mutlaq, but there are like certain points or certain muqamat in the Arabic language where the doer has to be mahduf. So here, whenever you say shukran, you don't need to say ashkuruka shukran. La. Similarly, ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. Also, we know that the doer is, or the information that comes before that is mahduf. So these are few muqamat in Arabic language where the information that comes before it has to be mahduf. So we will only say shukran, thank you. Jazakallahu khairan, jaza yajzi also requires mafulain, ka al-maful al-awwal, and khairan al-maful al-thani, and ismul jalala, lafzul jalala is in the place of the doer fa'il. So jaza fa'il, ismul jalala fa'il, ka al-maful al-awwal, wa khairan al-maful al-thani. Yaqra'u, then he recites, ma indaka yanfadu, wa ma inda Allahi baqin. Whatever you have will end. Nafeda yanfadu will come to an end. Wama indallahi baqin, but what Allah has is lasting. Okay, baqin.
It's on ism file.
Ismul file, okay.
Fine.
Like on what pattern?
Like
No, I need the verb. We have discussed this verb.
Baqiya.
Baqiya yabqa. Excellent. Baqiya yabqa fahuwa baqin. Excellent. Fahuwa baqin. So as we can see here, that now we can see that there are waqila man raqin. We can see that there are many verses of the Quran that end like this. So that's why we need to learn that this is ismul fa'il. However, we know that this is on the pattern of fa'ilun, and we know that changes that have taken place, that this is ismul manqus, and then the ya has been dropped and it has been replaced with kasratain. So, yes. So ma indakum yanfadu. Nafida yanfadu wa ma inda Allahi baqin, and what Allah has is lasting. And then we have a hadith as well. Al-Muslimu,
the Muslim.
man, the Muslim, man. Here man is used in the place of alladhi.
Ism mawsul.
Yeah, ismul mawsul. So we will also see that there are, we have learned that asma'ul mawsula, like alladhi, alladhina, allati, allati, they are isma'ul mawsula. Ma and man are also asma'ul mawsula. Yes, so man means alladhi, salima, he was safe. Who was safe? Al-Muslimuna. Una, ina. Salim al-Muslimuna, that the Muslims are safe. Min, from lisanihi, his tongue, wa yadihi, and his hands. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, a Muslim is the one from whose tongue and hands the Muslims are safe. So these days, and like always, like these two things that are very like we need to be very careful about, that sometimes we say something intentionally or unintentionally, which can hurt a person, and also yad, as we know, the hands. So these days we are hurting the people more with the hands than the tongues. How? Using social media, sitting on the mobile phone devices and computers, and sending messages, and cyberbullying and all that stuff, racism and all these things are going on, and all these things we are doing with our fingers, with our thumbs, with our hands. So that's why we need to be very careful that whenever we speak, even to a Muslim, we have to make sure that we don't have to hurt that Muslim. Even if we know that he's wrong, and even if we know that he is mistaken, still we have to follow the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that if we have to correct something, we have to correct him with politely and in a very good manner. So that's why the definition of the Muslim is al-Muslimu man salim al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi. This is a very beautiful definition of the Muslim, that a Muslim is the one from whose tongue and hands the Muslims are safe. We will do, I think, only the first exercise, and the reason why we need to do only the first exercise is so that we have done, just like we have completed the lesson and we remember the answers, and then the answers are already here. So tamarinu, هذه tamarinu, these are exercises. أجب عن الأسئلة الآتية, answer the following questions. Okay, so mal ashya'u, what are the things? Allati, which, ishtaraha malikun, that or which Malik bought. Allati
He
here.
brought
Allati
because
here.
Ashya is feminine.
But no, here, ha, does it refer to Ashya or does it refer to Allati? Here, please remember that here, ha refers to Allati. Why? Because Allati is Ismul Mawsul, and Ismul Mawsula always needs a dhamir that returns to it.
Connects it to the.
Connects to it, yeah. So it's for example, we say Zaydun Abuhu Tajirun. His father is a merchant, and Zaydun.
Allati was first used because of Ashya only.
Yes, excellent. So
whatever it is, again it will reflect back to
so
Ashya.
if we go into detail, we will say ma, as we know that Ismul Istifham, and Ashya'u is things. So it's a broken plural.
Would have been masculine noun, we would have used Allazi.
Allati, yeah. So Allati is basically used for Ashya. And we can also say that Ashya is Mawsuf and Allati is Sifa. This is another construction you need to remember, because sometimes we will need it. So Ashya'u is basically Mawsuf, Allati is Sifa. Or we can say that Ashya is, since it's a broken plural, so that's why for that we have to use Allati. So ma al-Ashya Allati. Ishtara, he bought. Okay, where is the doer? Fa'il. Fa'il is Malikun. So that's why Malikun will be marfu, and ha will be maf'ul bihi.
Maf'ul bihi and fa'il.
Yes, and because we know that attached pronoun will always be attached to the verb. When they come with the verb, they will be directly attached to that. So that's why it has come before the doer. And this is one of the places where maf'ul bihi can come before the fa'il. Normally we have verb plus fa'il plus maf'ul bihi. But when we have the attached, when we have the attached dhamir, then it comes before the fa'il. So ma al-ashya'u allati ishtara. So ishtara is the verb, and we know that it has alif maqsura. And when we attach it, when we use it with attached pronoun, then alif maqsura changes into regular alif. So ishtara is the verb, Malikun is the fa'il, and ha is maf'ul bihi. Okay, what are the things that Malik bought? Al-ashya'u, the things, allati, which, ishtaraha, he bought, or ishtaraha Malikun, Malik bought, hiya, they are, qalamun, a pen, wa daftarun, and a notebook. So these are qalam and notebook. All right. Aina yadrusu Malikun. Where does Malik study? So this is a, yes, Aina yadrusu Malikun.
Yadrusu fi madrasati Umar Thanawiyati.
Excellent. So we have the answer here already. Yadrusu fi madrasati Umar Thanawiyati. So he studies in Umar Secondary School.
Okay,
then-
why we are using there in the first question here, Ustad? It will, okay, it is referring again to Ashya only.
Yes,
or
that's
huwa,
right. Yeah.
or,
Or
okay.
yes. So or
We cannot say huwa, qalamun or daftar.
huwa will be used if we have the noun that we used is
Only the
masculine.
noun. Okay.
Yeah, when the noun is masculine. So
But qalamun,
if it is ash-shay'u alladhi ishtarahu malikun huwa qalamun. So if we have one
Okay.
thing like qalamun, so we will say ash-shay'u, and allati will change into alladhi, right?
allazi.
And who will ha will change into who, because one thing.
Who.
Huh? So ash-shay'u alladhi ishtarahu malikun huwa qalamun.
Qalamun.
It is a pen.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it's one thing, but if it is ashiya'u, then it is a broken plural. That means it's feminine. That's why we have allati for the things. Then we have ishtaraha. Ha refers to allati. Then malikun is the file, and hiya is used for the things. Qalamun wa daftarun. Okay. What will be? I would like you to read this. Yes, please, Sama.
ماذا حوت اللوحة
Ahsanti. Perfect. Hawat. This is basically the verb is hawa yahwi. Hawa, hawaya, hawu, hawat. Hawat is used for
So it will come as
singular.
tau tanis and that
Singular
changes.
feminine.
Yes, yeah. So hawat,
Kasra.
basically this is hawat, and we know that ta is sakin. However, when we connect it with al, then it
Tanis.
is connected with kasra, ta tanif. So madha hawatit lawhatu. So what does the cardboard contain or consist of? So a lawhatu, as we know, is the file, and hawat is the fail. So madha hawatit lawhatu. What does the cardboard consist of? And now it's confirmed here. Hawatil lawhatu ayatin wa ahaditha. The cardboard consisted of the verses of the Quran and the ahadith of
Basically,
Prophet
it
Muhammad
refers to
sallallahu
that
alaihi
portrait,
wasallam.
Ustad. Whatever we hang it in our homes like that, it refers to the portrait or something which is made of some particular metal, or it should be just anything which is made, Ustad.
Lawha,
This
you mean
lawha.
lawha?
Yeah,
Lawha
it can
is,
be told
it's
for
a-
anything which
yeah,
is
it's a
made of
very-
any material.
Very broader
Or-
like term. Yeah, more normally for the signboards and for the board or any kind of thing that is written and that is used to indicate something. The word lawha is used for that. We have lawhat like on the road. You have noticed like the signs that we have
The
written over there.
signboards, okay.
Yeah, they also call
Anything
them
can-
lawhat. They call them lawhat.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So
Can I
alhamdulillah.
ask something?
Yes, sure, please.
In number one, when you said that istiraha, ha refers to allati and not al-ashya'u.
Yes.
Can you please explain that again? Because I mean, al-ashya and allati both will be treated as feminine. So
That's right.
why?
Excellent. Yeah. Very good question, because when we say mal ashya'u, and if we don't have allati, if we say mal ashya'u ishtaraha, then it will refer directly to ashya if we don't have allati.
Okay.
But when we use allati, now we know that we have used allati for ashya. That's number one. And number two, allati is ismul mawsul. And whenever we use ismul mawsul, it always needs a damir or a pronoun that returns to it. Alladhi allama bil qalam. Silatul mawsul. Silatul mawsul will be a
Mawsul should
complete
connect to
sentence.
again to
Yes,
the
please.
distinct
Silatul mawsul will be a complete sentence, which can be a verbal sentence and which can be a nominal sentence. In this case, silatul mawsul is a verbal sentence, ishtaraha, right? So here, as we can see here, so ha refers to allati. Alladhi allama bil qalam, the one who taught by the pen. Alladhi allama, in allama we have huwa hidden into it, which refers to alladhi, right? So ar-Rahman, so similarly, whenever you see alladhi or allati or alladhina or allati, so after that, right after that, there will be a complete sentence.
attached.
Yeah, there will be a complete sentence. It will be a whether nominal sentence or verbal sentence, and that sentence will always consist of a pronoun, and that pronoun will always refer to the ismul mawsul, like
Refer back
alladhi
to
or allati.
the
Yeah, that will refer back to that. So if we have alladina, then it will be hum. If it is allati, it will be hunna.
Yes, that's
It will be here.
Jazakallah khair.
Wayakum. So that's this is like something that we discussed before, inshallah, and now as we discuss again and again, things become much clearer. All right. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.